Okay, well, thank you everyone for coming, taking some time this afternoon. We'll call the meeting to order. Item one on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. Are there any additions that you want to make to the agenda or any corrections?
No, looks good.
None noted. We have a motion to approve the agenda. Moved by Brian, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Adoption of the minutes of the Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee of April the 9th, 2024. Could I have a motion to adopt the minutes? Moved by Brian, seconded by Kelly. Were there any errors or omissions? Corrections? No.
None that I've seen.
None seen? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Matters for consideration. First one on the agenda, item number 1 is accessible transportation. So are you speaking to that, Tracy?
Yeah, I would just ask if you could ask for a disclosure of pecuniary interest first.
Oh, I missed that one. Sorry. Disclosure of pecuniary interest and the general nature thereof. Any? Oh, none noted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this accessible transportation item came up, I believe it was early summer. So the John M. Parrott Center used to rent a bus from Deserano Transit, which they used for their day trips with residents. And it held several wheelchairs on the bus as well as seating. Fortunately, because Deserano Transit has teamed up with Napanee Transit, they have more routes, but unfortunately that bus is being used for those routes. So they no longer have that kind of option. So at the time, the director of the Parrott Center had asked me to reach out to the committee to see if any committee members had any ideas of local transit that was available. And unfortunately, there wasn't anything that anyone was aware of. And so at that time, Kelly McCordy had said maybe that's something that the committee needs to discuss. So that's why we put it on the agenda. And if the committee members want to discuss this accessible transportation available in our county, that would be great.
Tracy?
Yes, hi, Bob.
Hi. Napanee Cab have an accessible van. It was the one that I had, and we had no longer use for it. We made some changes in transportation, and they have a wheelchair accessible van.
Just one, Bob?
Pardon me?
Is it just one?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. That's awesome. I guess the one thing is at this time, the Parrott Center did a trip to a fall color tour over the last few weeks, and they rented 2 buses, but each bus only held 2 wheelchairs. So that meant of all the people who went on the tour, in total, only 4 could be in wheelchairs. And that would be such a small percentage of residents from the home that it represents.
The majority of them are in wheelchairs, yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, unfortunately, aside from the one Bob's talking about in Deserano, I don't know of any other accessibility transportation in our area. It's definitely something that people have been asking about for quite some time. So
Is there, I don't know, if there's a sort of a major event or a need or an activity where someone wants one, like, is there anything in Kingston or Belleville anyone aware of?
it's astronomical pricing.
Yes.
To get one brought over, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge.
I was just thinking, yeah, if you're having like an organization's having an event, right? That's one thing, yeah. But if an individual wants transportation.
So
The
how
only
many
thing, oops, sorry. Go
I
ahead.
have my hand up here. Deserano bus, how many did it hold? Like, how many wheelchairs did it hold? Does anybody know?
I don't have that exact number, but I could check with the Parrott Center to find out. I know it was considerably more.
Because
Yeah,
I
the
know,
last time,
I
the
know
last
when
time I was on was about 6, but that was quite packed. Quite neatly. But that was quite some time ago, so I don't know if they've got a bigger bus since then or not.
I'm wondering if that's something that we know is coming up an event. Is it something we can rent from the Deserano? It's strictly it's on a fixed route. That's it.
Yeah, they cannot rent it anymore.
Oh, it's terrible.
I wondered, Angelique, if there's anything in Loyalist Township through Kingston Transit, through that partnership.
Well, we do through City of Kingston, but I could find out more information for you for the outlining areas. But I do right now, there's Route 10 that goes through Amherstview. But I can get more information if you would like.
That would be good, yeah. Is
So
there-
it's up to the committee. I mean, if you wanted to take a recommendation to our locals that there be some type of, that it be looked into for some type of accessible transportation.
The only other alternative that I've heard of is actually like a medical transfer bus. But then again, that's quite they only do that in certain situations as well. So yeah, I think it would be good if we take a recommendation to further look into it.
Yes.
Are you gonna make that? Go ahead, Barry.
I wonder what one of these buses would cost, like what Deserano uses. I mean, they're on an F450 Ford chassis. Because even the buses I was looking at, just having a pipe dream when I was out in Calgary, they only held I believe it was 4 wheelchairs. Like they were like a city bus, but just a micro-sized city bus, but they
Right.
the ramps dropped down and so on and so forth, but it held 4 wheelchairs. I mean, that was all it was capable of handling. So
When you come to that situation, Brian, it gets to be pretty expensive.
yeah, they were like a $1.2 million touch each per bus, right? So
I know just to convert a van is astronomical in price, eh?
yeah, this company, that's what they specialize in was accessible buses. It was kind of a neat concept. It was just the sheer cost of it, right? So
I know there's every year there's a spinal cord barbecue at Lake Ontario Park in Kingston, and there's usually an organization that comes from Toronto with accessible vans and what have you, and it's just phenomenal the price of them.
I have an accessible van as well, and they will give you a certain amount of funding. I think it was like 20,000, and then you have to cover the cost of purchasing the vehicle, and then cover the rest of the existing costs of switching it over. And you can only do that every 10 years, so you've got to keep the vehicle running for 10 years before you can apply again for additional funding.
wow.
So,
Yeah.
Well, I know that the van that we had, we got it out of Quebec, and it was 6 years old, I guess it was when we got it, and had it for a couple of years, and it sure let me have a lot of freedom. I was able to wheel up into it. My wife fastened me in. I was a backseat driver, believe it or not. That was interesting by times, but anyhow, we got through it. But anyhow, we sold it to Napanee Cab. They were quite thankful to get it because they had a lot of requests for accessible vans, and I see it bombing around Napanee pretty well every time we're in there.
Yeah.
Okay, Kelly, were you?
yeah, I can make that
Motion is that-
recommendation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is your request just to look into further what are you thinking, Tracy? Further what's available, or making a recommendation that we look at options for, I guess, enhancing that service or increasing availability?
I think it's probably reasonable that the committee recommends that the lower tiers just look into opportunities in the community.
Right.
Okay, just to research what's there more than
And,
it.
and possibly partnerships if there were some local agencies, that type of thing.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. That's okay with you, Kelly?
That's perfect. Yeah.
That's right. Okay. Then you've
Yeah.
got, I guess Jennifer's you okay with that, Jennifer? I assume you're
Yes, that's
taking
great. Thanks,
notes.
Tony.
Okay, so we have a mover. Do we have a seconder?
Yeah.
Seconded by Brian. And Bob, I noticed you're here now. Welcome to the meeting.
Okay,
So-
thank you. I was just a little late, that's all.
Not a problem.
Mhm.
So all in favor? Carried. And Bob, you're okay? You in favor?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Great. Carried. Thank you. Item 2 is accessible door openers. And Tracy, it's you again?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We just wanted to advise the committee that here in the county courthouse, we have 4 public washrooms. And I guess at the time of our reconstruction and the addition on our building 30 years ago, they were considered accessible. Since that time, we had an incident in the summer where a person with a walker was able to go into the main entrance to the washroom, but was not able to exit it because that would mean having to pull on the door. And they did not have the strength to do that and hold their walker. As soon as we became aware, we apologized obviously to the person and made arrangements, and accessible door openers have been installed on all 4 of those public washrooms here in the county courthouse. And I'd be pleased to answer any questions the committee may have.
The buttons are on the outside and the inside, Tracy.
You
take it.
betcha, yeah.
Perfect.
And the one on the inside, the door pulls in from the inside, and so it is back quite a ways, so that if you were,
Perfect.
you had a walker or any other kind of mobility device, you're back but far enough for the door to open, and then you can exit.
Great.
Excellent.
That would be a bonus, and you're to be congratulated, Tracy, for having that done.
Mm-hmm.
Thank
That's-
you.
That's
And I mean, we'd be pleased to, if the committee wanted to thank the Property Services Department, we'd be pleased to have that.
By all means,
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Because it's hard, especially when you're retroing these older setups to keep everything all in mind. So to be able to jump on it that quick and react and get it looked after, yes, they definitely need a thank you for sure.
great.
Definitely.
Robert, so Bob, are you going to make that recommendation?
Yes, I will
Okay, so
gladly make that.
moved by Bob and then seconded by Kelly. Just so all in favor? Kelly, and Bob, you're in favor?
Yes, I am.
Assume you are. Thanks.
Yes.
Thank you. And thanks, Tracy, for that report. So item 3 on the agenda is the 2024 Joint Accessibility Advisory Committee accomplishments. Excuse me, I have a tickle in Jennifer. I guess it's
That's me.
on deck.
Thank you. I don't have anything to add to the report, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Does anyone have any questions or comments?
No.
Okay, then we will have can I have a motion to receive the report. Moved by Brian, seconded by,
Sure.
oh,
I can
Bob.
do that.
Thanks, Bob. All in favor?
Yes,
Yes, great. Thank you. Carried. And thank you very much, Jennifer, for that report.
You're welcome.
Great, appreciated. Number 4 on the agenda is the spring conference highlights from ONAP, and that's you again, Jennifer.
That's me again. And once again, I don't have anything to add to the report, but I'm happy to answer any questions that the committee may have.
Anyone have questions of Jennifer on this report? I don't see any, so
No.
we have a motion to receive the report. Moved by Kelly, seconded by Brian. All in favor?
yes.
Yes. Carried, and thank you again, Jennifer, for that report.
You're welcome.
The next one is Accessibility Advisory Committee structure. And that's you again, Jennifer.
That's me again. Yes. We did this report up just to sort of kind of see what others in our area are doing and how we compare, and just compiled the data and, made a note of anything of interest that we saw. I don't have anything to add, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
So go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, it's actually kind of nice to see that, how many meetings per year other counties are having. And that's something like we're meeting twice a year according to this. Should we be meeting more often? Is that something that we want to look at, or?
Excuse me, I suppose that it's possible. I would ask Tracy to weigh in on that. That would be a change to our rules of procedure. Tracy, could you comment
Sure,
on that?
through you, Mr. Chair. So we did schedule more meetings in the past, and Kelly, who's been on the committee for a while, would remember that. And
Mhm.
then we often didn't have enough agenda items.
Okay,
So although we scheduled 2, like last year we had 3, and there's been several times we've had more than the 2,
okay,
but we just found when we had more, we ended up having to cancel some. And then Kelly would probably also remember back in times when there was a lot of legislative changes coming out through the AODA, then we had a lot more meetings because it was
Mhm.
necessary.
so the 2 a year is fine, and if something pops up, then we'll have a third or fourth if needed. Okay,
A special
Excellent.
meeting can be added anytime.
perfect, thank you.
You're welcome.
Questions, sort of the public members, so Kelly and Bob. What's your view on the duration of your term? It's a 2-year, and it's often renewed
Yes,
meeting, but is that reasonable, or?
I think so. Um, it's often difficult to find other community members, but it gives us the opportunity to weigh in on whether we can continue or not. And yeah, I think 2 years is reasonable.
Yep.
I,
Bob? Yes.
I don't agree with Kelly. I feel that a 4-year appointment, when you start on the committee, by the end of 2 years, you're just more or less getting your feet wet. And at the end of 4, it's the same term as council, and to keep it even, that's the way I know the committees that I'm on here at home. That's the way we're appointed for a 4-year term, and at the duration of the council the same way.
Thanks, Bob. And Tracy, I have a question. Has it been, has this duration been like 2 years for a long time? What's the history behind it?
It has been 2 years, but as either you or Kelly said, they often, members are reappointed.
Yeah.
But if the committee wishes, I mean, we can make changes to terms of reference, or make recommendations to council, because the terms of reference belong to council as an advisory committee. The one thing I would say is if we have 4-year commitment by members of the community, then if something happens health-wise and they have to drop off, then we end up often with a staggered, so then the next person, I guess, do they get, and our terms of reference would have to say, do they get appointed for 4 years or for the remainder of the other person's 4 years?
Mhm.
So that would need to be
Yeah.
included in any recommendation that the committee makes to council, but that's definitely can happen for sure.
Yeah, I was just raising that question because I know as far as the council members' participation and all the other, generally all the committees of county council members, there's a rotation, and it's been a past practice of a year on this committee, a year on that. So I'm not going to venture down that path of making one oddball in it. But as far as the community members are concerned, well, I guess it's up to you, Kelly and Bob, if you want to bring anything else up or any suggestions for change. I just raised the issue because I noticed that a lot of others have longer terms, so.
I mean, personally, right now, I would think that we should keep things as is and maybe relook at it come January or like our next meeting when Drew could potentially be here to weigh in.
Okay,
I think for just the two of us to make that decision is we need Drew's input if we can get it, for sure.
okay. Okay, there any other comments on the structure or on the report of the, yes, right?
Just one more through you. So yeah, it looks like we are the only ones out of all the other municipalities, or all the other counties that for term of council members, it's only 1 year, where everybody else is doing like the 4-year, 4-year,
Yeah.
Kawarth is 2-year. Is that something maybe we should be looking at?
Yeah. I mean, from my perspective, there probably is some sense in continuing as a member of council being on it for longer than 1 year. If you're chairing it and you're only on it for 1 year, and you possibly have 2 meetings, so there's 1 meeting you're getting familiar with what's going on, and the second meeting, which is this is it, and then next year you're not on it anymore. So yeah, I think sometimes, and I know it's nice to shift county council members around because they all get exposure to the different committees.
Well, then it gets you on different committees as well. So
yeah,
well, maybe that's something we'll hash out at another time, like say maybe in January.
yeah,
yeah.
Some food for thought. Anyway, but okay. So
All right.
don't
Yeah,
think hearing any strong suggestions for changing that, but anything based on the report. If that's the case, can we have a motion to receive this report? Moved by Brian, seconded by Kelly. All in favor?
Yes.
Carried. Thank you, and thank you very much. That was a very interesting report. Yeah.
It's nice to see where we sit.
Where we stand, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, no, it was very good.
Item 6 on the agenda is accessibility updates. So Patricia, are you going to provide some updates?
Yep, thank you, Mr. Chair. I can do that.
Thank
So,
you.
so the report included some updates that were done in the past year, and actually a little bit longer than the past year. As the committee may recall, we had applied for some Trillium grants, both in 2023 and again in 2024, and we were successful in 2024. So I gave a bit of an update there on our playground improvements, which will create accessible playgrounds and inclusive playgrounds at 3 locations in the township. So we're very fortunate to have received that funding. So I provided the committee with the design of the playgrounds and the renderings for each location, as well as the accessibility rationale and some information on the ground cover that would be used as well, which is, once compacted, is to meet accessible standards as well. I also provided some information regarding the ramp improvements that we've done. We had spoke to the committee back in 2022, actually, for a funding application to replace ramps on our Denby Community Center and our Flinton Public Library, and we did eventually receive funding for that. So those ramps have been replaced, and I attached some photos of those. And then most recently, we did some interior painting at the Addington Highlands Community Center located in Denby. That's an old school that we had purchased and started converting into different different facilities. So our public library is there, a council meeting room, our food bank, the Lakelands Family Health Team. And it's been, you know, just different renovations over the years, but the interior hallways needed some painting. So we used a neutral color, one of the colors actually that was currently used in the building, and painted all of the hallways that color, and then redid all of the doors. Some were light blue, some were gray. So we did a consistent color on all of the doorways, and they were a darker color so that it was visually accessible for those with low visibility. And I attached some photos of that as well. So if anyone had any questions, I'd be happy to speak to that.
Thank you, Patricia. Does anyone have any questions of Patricia or comments? Don't see any. I have one comment is there's in Patricia's report provides a great overview of it. There's been a lot happening in Addington Highlands in the last year and a half. So on some of our facilities, which is great. So thank you very much for putting that together, Patricia. Appreciate it. Seeing no questions or comments, can I have a motion to receive Patricia's report? Moved by Kelly, second by Bob. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. So item 7, we're into trunk or treat events, and we have they're growing in popularity. We have a few of them here. So the first one is on Addington Highlands, and Patricia, did you want to provide a comments on it?
Certainly, thank you. So I just provided the information for the committee. Again, I think it's our 7th year. So the community member that has always put together this event is doing it once again, and the event will be on October 31st. It has expanded some. They did receive some funding from the county through the activation fund, and purchased some decorations and speakers, and we'll be providing hot dogs to the participants. And the municipality supports this event by providing the location at no cost. They use the community hall in Flinton at our office and use that parking lot. And we also provide the accessibility signage. We do promote the event as an accessible event, and we are making our accessible washrooms available to the public as well. So that if anyone had any questions or comments, I'd be happy to speak to them.
Any questions for Patricia?
Everything looks great, Patricia. I think you're doing a great job.
Thank you. We're very happy to have this community member work so hard at this.
Great.
The big undertaking for sure.
Yeah. Well, great. So if no other questions or comments, can we have a motion to receive the report? Moved by Brian, seconded by Bob, I guess. We'll take a pick Bob. So all in favor? Carried. And thank you very much, Patricia, for the report. appreciated, and all the trick-or-treaters will be looking forward to that for sure. So the next one is 7B, which is the Loyalist Township trunk or treat event. So we have anyone from Loyalist? Oh, yes. Angelique, you're going to speak to it?
Yeah, it's there basically for information. We wanted just to share with everyone. It's always been very well attended, and this year it's on Sunday, October 27th at the Odessa Fairgrounds, and from 1 to 4 p.m. So, yeah, it's actually organized by their Heritage, Culture, and Tourism Division, and unfortunately, Lindsay wasn't able to attend today, but we want to make sure that you had all the information available. And thank you. We hope that you can come out and join us.
Oh,
Any
that's great.
questions?
Any questions for Angelique?
Everything looks great.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you.
Okay, see no further questions. Can I have a motion to receive this report? Moved by Brian, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? Right. Carried. Thank you, and thank you, Angelique, for speaking to it. Yes. Lots of options for trick-or-treaters. And then with 7C, which is a town of Greater Napanee, their trunk or treat event on Sunday, October 27th.
Holly, okay.
Yes, go ahead.
Brian, did you want to speak to this or did you want me to?
Well, it doesn't matter. I can speak to it or whatever. It's just whatever you want to do.
Yeah, no, you go ahead. I'm excited to hear.
Okay, so yeah, so Sunday, October 27th, we're holding our trunk or treating event. So it's the 27th of October. It's 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. And this year it's down at the Market Square, down at the town hall in the middle of Napanee here, which I think is an excellent idea to move it downtown. I think it's going to attract a lot more people, a lot more local people, and it's definitely a little better accessible as well. So I think it's going to be great. Anything you want to add to that, Holly?
No, this is not our first year doing it, so we're really looking forward to getting more people out. I know our social media team's been really encouraging people to attend, and we've got a full roster this year, so we're really looking forward to not only local businesses, but local people coming together to celebrate the holiday, and it's on Sunday, October 27th.
Okay. The only question I have about that one, it has to do with parking. How is that going to look? Is there going to be enough accessible parking for everybody?
Yeah, there should be because across the street, the one municipal building, there's accessible parking spots there. There is some, as far as I know, right at the Market Square. It's like right at the town hall itself. So it
Okay.
shouldn't be out of line. I think there's, just going off the top of my head, there's about 4 accessibility parking spots there. So, and if we need to clear and make more, we'll make that happen.
Perfect.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions for Brian? Oh, Kelly, go ahead.
Oh, I just had a question. Are we allowed to share your flyers on social media to promote, or would you prefer us not to do that?
That would be a Holly question.
Yeah, speaking for Napanee, we would absolutely encourage you to share it. We want as many people out as possible to come and enjoy the festivities. So absolutely, please feel free to share and tag us so we can get the message out as wide as possible.
Right.
Loyalist Township as well. Please go ahead and share. Thank you.
Perfect.
Same for Arlington Highlands, thanks.
Perfect. Great.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Any other questions for Brian? No? Oh, great, thank you. So we have a motion to receive this report. Moved by Bob, seconded by Kelly. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Yes, and thanks, Brian, and thanks, Holly, for providing some information around that event. Under matters for information, item 1 is a 2025 tentative meeting schedule. Yes, go ahead, Jennifer.
Hi, so as per our earlier correspondence, Tony, we were looking at
Yeah.
possibly changing the date, the tentative date for the October meeting. It's in direct conflict with the Addington Highlands Council meeting, which would make it Patricia unable to attend, and also if a member of Addington Highlands is on the accessibility committee in 2025 for them as well. So it's up to you. We can make a recommendation to change that date to the tentative date, rather, to the 14th of October, the Tuesday before.
Yeah, the 14th, I think, is clear. And Patricia, I'm not aware of any other sort of regular meeting issue that would affect that, say, from your perspective, from staff? No. Okay, I just happened to notice that because we had the same issue this fall. This meeting was moved too because it like so. Okay, so yeah, that's from Addington Highlands perspective, we like it changed from October 21st to October the 14th. So
Okay.
unless that causes a conflict with someone else, would someone on the committee make that recommendation that we have these meeting dates as April the 8th, 2025 and October the 14th, 2025?
Perfect, I can do that.
Moved by Kelly, seconded by Bob.
Oh.
Are there any comments on that or any other conflicts people are aware of? No.
Not as of yet. It looks good here on this end.
Okay.
So April 8th and October 14th. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
Tentatively.
Okay. So we have all. We'll vote on that. All in favor? Carried. Thank you, and thank you for bringing that report, Jennifer. The next item is under matters for information is customer service standards development. And is that you, Tracy, or?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I can speak to that. It was just put on here for information. This is one of the committees from the province, and this is the one that I was happy to sit on as the representative of Roma. And so we're hoping for any feedback that people would like to give. You can go to the websites that are included there and give feedback on the draft standards.
So I do have a question, Tracy. Can anyone comment on that survey, like anyone of the member of the public?
Yes.
Okay, because it's pretty extensive. There's a lot of information in that. So just my question is, the thought was that this should be sort of pointed out to the lower tiers, and maybe they can, with me, I requested that they sort of post this, that here's an opportunity to comment on something if they wished, any member of the public, just to get the word out there. That was just a thought I had. So do we have other questions or comments on this? Yeah, Kelly?
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's quite lengthy, so it's gonna take some time for people to get through it. So as long as everybody knows that and is aware of that, I think that's great.
Okay. Did you have a comment, Brian, or no?
Yeah, I just was gonna ask Holly if that's something that we can do, is get it out on our website. Is Holly there? Is she gone?
Yeah, no, sorry, just a slow reaction time. Yes, absolutely. That's something we can put on our website.
Excellent. Perfect.
And so we'll be pleased to circulate that to the lower tiers, and if you want to include it in your resolution, that's fine too.
Okay. Yes, Bob, did you want to?
Yeah, I think that would be a very good idea, Tracy, to circulate it to the lower tier. I would make that motion that be done.
Okay, and Bob, can that include receiving this report?
Yes, it can.
Thank you. So you have a motion to receive this report and include requesting lower tiers to circulate this information or post it, make it available to the public regarding the survey. I have a seconder. Brian, any other comments? No. All in favor? Carried, thank you. Yes, and thanks for putting that on the agenda. I know when I started looking at it, Tracy, there's a lot of information here to read. This isn't a 5-minute survey, so.
It is not.
365 bedtime stories, Terry.
Put it right on your nightstand and read it every night. You'll get through it eventually, so. But it's very, very important. So, and Tracy knows that also well because she participates in this work. Any other business that anyone wants to bring up? No.
Terry, I was tardy in getting here. On page 7, item 3. Know that they are putting, and probably maybe it is complete now, a wheelchair ramp in at the Enterprise Hall. Is there anybody got any reports on it or not?
On Enterprise Hall?
Yes.
Yes. I don't have an update. Do you know anything, Tracy, about the status?
I'm sorry, Bob, I don't see the staff representative from Stone Mills on here. She must not have been able to make it, but we can put in an inquiry.
My under,
Go ahead, Brian.
I said, my understanding it was complete. I believe I seen where Counselor God, I lost Rob's name, but I believe he had a post on social media where it was completed. So
That'll be Rob Fenwick, Brian.
Fenwick, yes. God, only
Well,
known him all my life.
If we had this meeting a week later, I'd be able to tell you because there's a function going to happen there on Saturday that I plan on attending. So
I
guess
believe that's what he posted. I'm just going to quickly see if I can find it here. Rob makes way too many posts.
We could just put in a request to have.
Yes,
follow up
here
on
we
that.
are, October 4th. Check out the amazing transportation of the Enterprise Community Hall. Special shout out to the incredible staff at Stone Mills Township for their hard work in securing the grant that will not only fund this new covered ramp, but also install heat pumps at the hall for cooling. And oh, it doesn't actually say that it is complete, but I know it shows a picture of them working on it. So
you said that was October the 4th, Brian?
that was the 4th, yeah. So
Okay.
Jennifer, you'd be able to reach out and just find out and let them know because it looks like Bob has
Yes,
like out there,
absolutely.
so.
yeah, because he's advertising the events this weekend, so I would assume it would be done.
I'll
do that.
I'll be able to fill you in next week.
Already?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. That's great. So any other business?
The only other question I have, Terry, is that maybe Tracy can answer this. Is there a requirement for restaurants to have an accessible door openers?
Through you, Mr. Chair. I believe that if it's new construction or if they do renovations, they have to add those. But older buildings, it's unfortunately, I don't think that they have to retrofit unless they are doing a renovation.
You're correct, Tracy. Yeah.
Okay, that answers my question. Thank you, Tracy.
Any other questions, comments, other business? Don't see any. So before we have an adjournment, thank you everyone for taking the time today. Having some good discussion around the agenda items. That's great. So we have a motion to adjourn. Moved by Brian, seconded by Bob, I guess. So all in favor? Carried. The meeting is adjourned.